Hey, welcome back to the ThunderPals YouTube channel. I am Iceberg Mike and I'm here to review Birds of Prey. Now, as a Sonic fan, I found it very weird that fans or stans of this movie, Birds of Prey, was attacking the Sonic movie. There's a whole bunch of tweets, there's a whole bunch of nonsense that was going on about the whole misogynistic, homophobic, racist things that were going on in the Sonic movie, and I think that was uncalled for and very unprofessional of these people. Like, if your movie's not doing good, you don't attack the movie that's doing good. Especially in Sonic's case, because no one thought that movie was going to be good in the first place. So I'm just at a loss as to why they would even do something like that. I wanted to make a video talking about all that stuff, but I figure I'll put it in this video to let you know, like, yeah, that wasn't cool. Now, as I did for the Sonic movie, I will give an opinion on whether you should see the movie or not, and then I'm going to get into spoiler territory, because I'm just going to talk about the movie itself and problems that I had with it. So, should you see Birds of Prey? Well, based on these unprofessional Twitter people, no, you shouldn't. But I think if you are a fan of the Harley Quinn character,
I got a PhD, mother.
And you like a good female-driven cast, like you like the movie like Charlie's Angels or whatnot, where it's just a bunch of badass girls knocking out some stuff, some cool female protagonists. If you want something like that, this movie definitely delivers that. And it's not bad. The plot's not bad. The movie is actually quite enjoyable. I laughed at a couple of things. And Margot Robbie's character, Harley Quinn, was done well here. One thing that I didn't necessarily agree with when doing a little bit of research for this review, people thought that the characters didn't look attractive. And I'm like, did we watch the same movie? Like, okay, of course, in Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn was a lot more sexual in that movie, but y'all act like she dumpster dived into a dumpster and came out ugly as shit, and no, that's not the case. She looked fine to me. Huntress is like, well, I liked the Scott Pilgrim movie, so when I saw Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress, I'm like, wait a minute, you look familiar. Oh, yo. So I was good, and she looked good as Huntress, and I liked how her characterization was, she was trained as an assassin for most of her life after dealing with the event that happens in that movie. So of course she's gonna act like a person who's detached from society. Like, it all makes sense. So yeah, man, I enjoyed the characters. Black Canary, Jurnee Smollett-Bell, very good depiction of Black Canary. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a background in the comics, so I don't know how faithful to the comics these portrayals of each character are. But if you don't know who Cassandra Cain is supposed to be, you probably won't care. But if you do, you might have some problems with this movie. And unless this is supposed to be like an origin story, then okay, but I might have some problem with that. A big issue is that the Birds of Prey themselves are kind of like an afterthought. What I mean by that is the movie does a lot of focusing on Harley herself, and everyone else's story kind of converges in, but from there it's like, this is Harley and them. This isn't Birds of Prey. But I guess that's what they wanted to go for. But from this point onward, I'm going to be talking about most of the things in the movie. I'm not going to go over everything, but your spoiler warning is right about now. The movie begins with Harley crying her ass off because the Joker broke up with her. Now, there's this whole like feminist thing that doesn't make much sense to me. Like, there's this whole, yeah, this movie is woke. I didn't catch that. Maybe it went over my head. But from the beginning to the end, it's basically Harley trying to survive in a post being with Joker Gotham that, you know, she was untouchable while she was the Joker's thing. And now everyone wants her dead now because, oh, you're not backed by the Joker anymore. We can finally kill you for all the stuff you did to us. I don't know what about that screams feminism, but okay. She basically blows up the chemical plant that she was turned into Harley Quinn by the Joker. She dumped her into a vat of acid. I liked how they portrayed that. It felt very Batman-esque how they portrayed the whole like flashback of her like getting got and turned into Harley. I thought that was cool, but it's just weird seeing her being all depressed about it. I mean, she did have Stockholm syndrome. She loved the Joker, but I, for one, was happy that he wasn't involved with her anymore. So that was something that was good. From when she blows up the Ace Chemical plant, she then basically signs her death notice, really, because now everyone wants her dead. A cop, Renee Montoya, kind of has like a mid-boss beef with Harley, and they have a scuffle because Harley's trying to get a bacon, egg, and cheese, and she loves it from this one place, and it's comical how she has a fight with Renee, and at the end of it, Harley loses the sandwich, and Renee almost gets ran over. It's a stupid fight, but it was amusing to me. I enjoyed it, and she ends up running away, but then she gets caught by the main antagonist's group, Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor. Rosie Perez plays Renee Montoya. But Black Mask decides he wants everything in Gotham, seeing that the Joker is done with Harley, and he wants to take over everything. Now, it's weird because this story was told in piecemeal. It's like you see one trail of a story go, but Harley is the narrator. So she stops and rewinds and goes forward and, oh, I forgot about this and I gotta tell you about this now. When they get to Huntress' story, you find out that her whole family was gunned down and she was trained to take revenge on the people who had killed her family. And it's kind of crazy because Cassandra Cain ends up becoming the kind of the MacGuffin or focal point of the movie. But it's weird because you just think she's like a one-off character, but she's actually very important. So a bounty gets put on Cassandra's head, and Huntress wants to find the bounty, and Harley takes down a whole police station to find her. You have Renee's character who ends up fighting with Harley again, and Black Canary is actually the driver for Black Mask, so she's with him, but apparently she's like a mole and she's working with Renee. So it ends up, the climax of the movie ends up being the four of them coming together to try to keep Cassandra from getting got by Black Mask. And the reason why Black Mask wants Cassandra is because she swallowed a diamond. This diamond apparently has some type of code engrafted into it that gets you access to a fortune of untold billions of dollars. So it basically is enough money to buy every judge or whatever in Gotham, and you basically own everything. Because when you own money, you own everything. But anytime you think something is going right in this movie, it is not. Harley ends up spending some time with Cassandra before the big showdown. It's cool. I kind of like the bonding moment between Harley and Cassandra, but it ends up going badly, and it's kind of tragic in a way because she thought that the person who like she could trust ends up betraying her because they offered him mad money. I was like, damn, man, you got sold out. That was bad. So at the final part of the movie, which almost gave me Batman versus Superman vibes, because I don't like it when DC movies go dark, because it usually ends up being very try-hardy and edgy, and I don't like it when these DC movies go edgy. Luckily, it was just for those couple of seconds and it wasn't that bad. It was basically like a rundown amusement park, and they went inside this fun house. I'm guessing it was probably once a Joker stronghold. That's why Harley knew about it. So all of the characters, Black Canary, Huntress, Cassandra, Harley, and Renee, they converge on this spot, and they end up having to team up with each other because they've all betrayed Black Mask, and Black Mask doesn't like being betrayed. He goes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs if that happens.
Hey, go for Cocoa Puffs! Go for Cocoa Puffs!
And he basically sends every bad, thuggy henchman towards them. And the 5 of them take them on. I really should say 4 of them, because Cassandra ain't really fighting nobody. But they take them on and they win. I don't know how they win. Guess they were really tough. They punched them and did all of the things that you would expect those characters to do. But they beat the henchmen inside the funhouse area. Then as they're walking out, Renee gets shot. Luckily, this was a throwback. The old corset black and red costume that Harley used to wear was called back in here, and Harley gave the corset to Renee to wear because it was part bulletproof. And I thought that was a cool nod, and it ended up saving Renee because she got shot in the stomach. And they take Cassandra, and it's a high-speed car chase to get Cassandra back. It did it pretty well. I enjoyed it. Eventually, they get the kid back. They end up at these docks, and Harley had a gun with 1 bullet in it that Renee gave her. She missed, of course, and it's funny because it was like the guy was trying to talk some smack, like, you missed and you had 1 shot. And, Huntress is out here, last minute, gets him, so he laughs at her. But Cassandra says that she pickpocketed something off of Harley, a ring, and I don't know how this happened, but Cassandra took some grenades with her, and for some reason they used Cassandra was a pickpocket throughout the whole movie to create an illusion that she took something of value from Harley, but she didn't, and it ended up blowing up and killing Black Mask. Like, he fell off the dock and he was blown up by the grenade.
Damn! He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
It was weird how they did that. But after that, they do a little post thing where they show everyone doing their own thing. They make little light of the birds of prey. They say that Huntress and Black Canary become the birds of prey along with Renee, because Renee resigned from the force. They then show Harley and Cassandra just chilling. They basically just do whatever they want to do. But I'm like, if this movie was supposed to be about the birds of prey, why you're like, yeah, they became birds of prey, but look, we rich now, we in cars, and we doing stuff. But then they call back the bacon, egg, and cheese from earlier. Apparently Cassandra bought it for her, and then they ride off into the sunset. I skipped around haphazardly with that because, well, the movie was pretty haphazard. I liked it, but I wish they would have told it in a more linear fashion, because I didn't think it needed the haphazard storytelling. I forgot to tell you that Black Canary has a basically Black Bolt power because of how haphazard this is. She screams and it slows down the cars, because she did it one time at the end when right after Renee gets shot and they don't know how they're gonna stop the cars from moving. But Black Canary screams, takes down all the guards, and then Harley was on roller skates for some reason. She mysteriously had them on a couple of scenes before. She comes out of the joint on the roller skates, but then the car she was trying to chase with Black Mask, she gets hit by another car, but then Huntress comes through on a motorcycle and helps. She stitches herself to the motorcycle and she helps her get to Black Mask. Completely spaced on that. because that's how haphazard this movie is. And I say all that, and I still think it was a decent movie. I don't think it should be like shitted on. And I think from the marketing that they did for this movie, they shouldn't have marketed this movie as a get woke movie. And there's this term, get woke, get broke. And I mean, yeah, but there's good ways to do things and there's bad ways to do things. I don't think you should shove a message down people's throats. You should just be doing it. Like, you shouldn't want people to see this movie because it's all female driven. That should be an afterthought. The movie should be good, and then, oh, yo, this movie was good, and it was directed by a woman, written by a woman, all female starting cast. That's crazy, yo. That's something like you say after the fact. Like, yo, that movie was good, yo. Like, yo, Harley was doing mad stuff that didn't make no sense. She was taking down all these big dudes, yo. Like, with just a hammer, yo. That was crazy, yo. There was a little suspension of disbelief that some of these skinny women were taking down these dudes the ways they were. Some of them made sense, though, because they had, like, some judo tosses and whatnot, so they was using momentum against them, but it's fantasy at the end of the day. Like, I think that's the problem with these fictional properties making the jump to the real world. A lot of times we do put realism too much into the fantasy. Like with the Sonic movie, like you had Sonic dealing with the real world. Sonic is not in the real world, and neither are these heroes. Well, I should say anti-heroes, because the only real hero is probably Renee. Rest of these people, they just doing their own thing. But like the protagonists in this movie, they're all creatures of fiction. Alright, they don't look like they're gonna take down some big dude, but they can, because that's the world they live in. And why not? But, you know, I think people just want to be upset about things and they want to pin blame no matter where it goes. Like, if this movie was marketed better and maybe told in a linear fashion instead of like randomly. So I didn't like how the movie was apologizing for itself. Like, it would constantly say that Harley can't stand on her own because she was always with the Joker. Like, the definition of a Harlequin is like someone who supports, and I'm like, I kind of get where they're going. It was kind of like an underdog story kind of deal, but it just felt off-putting. Like the movie kind of felt like it was aware of itself and at the same time maybe like too tongue-in-cheek about its shortcomings or potential shortcomings. It felt weird. I think they did that personally because they wanted to show like Harley is still kind of crazy. So if she's going to tell a story, she's going to tell it haphazardly like this. And if that was the case, that makes a lot of sense. But for me, it was almost hard to follow because of how they did it that way. I don't know. I don't think people should trash it. I don't think people should trash the Sonic movie. I think the Sonic versus Birds of Prey beef makes no sense. So stop it. Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
But yeah, movie was great. I should give y'all a rating. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It would score higher if it wasn't so random, and they're kind of try-hardy. There was a section in there, they claim that the movie was woke, but about the most woke thing in there is that they say that Harley voted for Bernie. And I'm like, was that really necessary? That felt try-hardy. I don't know. It's good for what it's trying to do, but it was a little haphazard. I didn't like the random storytelling for it, and sometimes, even though I just made a whole thing of fiction versus realism, it did seem a little weird in some places in terms of what certain characters could do versus others. But that did bother me a little. Oh. You know what I really didn't like? The ending post-credit scene. It's not even a scene, it's an audio clip. Harley says, "Oh, you're still here? Well, let me tell you a secret about Batman. And it cuts off. And then the lights turn on and you realize that the joke was there was no secret about Batman. She knew. It's just, got him. You try to stay here for an after credit scene that wasn't gonna happen." I'm like, that was kind of cheap.
Ain't protecting a psychotic clown who treats you like garbage.
Ask the guy who f***s bats.
That doesn't hurt my review score, though. I still think it's a 7 out of 10. It was enjoyable. I definitely thought it was funny, but some things just feel a little try-hardy and slightly uninspired. Although the way they do certain things, the car chase, even though it seems like every movie has to have a car chase, they did that one pretty original. Because I would assume it starts with Canary's scream and then evolves into the roller skates and the sketching. That kind of reminded me of Mission Impossible in a way. I didn't like Harley crying like constantly in the beginning of the movie. Like, if you're supposed to be this renewed character, you're doing your thing. I think her crying went for about 5 minutes too long. Yes, you should definitely grieve, because if you break up with someone that you had Stockholm Syndrome for, yeah, you're definitely going to be feeling something. But I also think that she should have realized, like, yo, this dude really don't like me. I don't know, maybe the Ace Chemical scene should have came up a little sooner. She definitely gets over him. It just maybe took a little too long for me. I don't know. I don't know how to process grief like that, so maybe that's all the time she needed. But this movie doesn't really fight misogyny. It fights mob bosses and whatnot. It fights mob bosses and budding entrepreneurs of crime. That's what it does. I wouldn't say it fights misogyny. I do like the fact that we're getting more movies that star females in a more prominent role, but I feel like you should just do it and don't say nothing about it. Don't make a big deal about it. Just do it. And maybe it would come off better. And the characters don't have to be super sexualized, and they don't have to be potato doughboys either. Just make a story and just put it out there. That's all you gotta do. That's what Wonder Woman did. They made a story, they put it out there. That movie is directed by a female. Did they really make all that big deal about it? Not really. So maybe that's the lesson that you should take from this. If you're gonna do a movie again that is female led and female directed, just do it and don't say nothing about it. Or, you know, if you're proud of it, obviously you're gonna talk about it, but don't make that the key focus of your marketing, is what I would say. But let me know what y'all thought about this in the comments. Did you see the movie? Did you like the movie? Are you on the fence? Are you memeing about it? Let me know how you feel about this, and let's get this conversation going. Like, comment, and subscribe. Smack that bell. Join our social medias, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.